Hi, welcome to Smith and Gressie 2026. One of the biggest changes in brass bands of recent times has been the development of daytime bands. So we thought, what a good idea to get a few friends on and they can tell us about their experiences in developing these daytime bands, because until recently they didn't really exist. So please can we welcome Chris Johnston from Girvan Brass in Scotland and Kevin Holdgate, who is at the moment conducting Ratby Day Band. He's also conducting Derby, Burton and District Day Band, and he's also involved in the new NEMBA, which is the North East Midlands Brass Band Association Day Band. So welcome, chaps. Sandy, do you want to...
Yeah, I mean, we thought that we would just try and find out a bit more about these bands, because Simon and I's background, as you all know, is contest banding. And this thing has been getting more and more popular recently. And we thought we'd get people on to talk about how they go about it. There may be people listening who want to do their own version of this. And I'm intrigued to know how you guys set your bands up, and what was this sort of kicking off point for it? Was there an interest in friends that did it or whatever? Mm-hmm. Kevin, do you want to start off?
Yeah, certainly. The principle of these day bands, I'll give you a philosophy first. I think it's fair to say that the age profile of the bands is predominantly retired people, or people who no longer work 5 days a week.
Mm-hmm.
But it's filling a gap. A lot of brass bands, for various reasons, are now rehearsing once a week, particularly lower section bands. Probably they've always rehearsed once a week, but a lot of bands have gone to 1 day a week because of commitment, because we all have families, we all have different things. But that's not enough for a lot of people, particularly as you get older, and we know that because we're all getting to that sort of age, that if you only play once a week, your playing doesn't keep up to the same sort of standard that you'd like it to be.
Yeah.
So add something in. It's not about replacing something. And I think this is important with the daytime bands. And it's something that was said to me by a couple of people when I first muted the idea of setting up the Derby and Burton and District, was, well, you're just going to nick players off us. You're going to take players away. We're not interested in that, because our players will come and play for you. And if they're playing on our instruments, then we're not going to allow it.
Oh, God.
And I said, wait a minute, okay. Whoa, wait. Well, let's just retrack on this. This is not about replacing your band. This is about giving them something else.
Yeah.
It's adding to, not taking away. And let's be very clear on this. This is not about contesting.
Yeah.
This is not about doing 10 concerts during the summer.
Mm-hmm.
This is not about replacing the bands that they're already in. And it's certainly not about registering anybody. It's all about giving something back and saying to people, come and have a blow. And if you fancy a blow, great. And if you don't, fine.
Yeah.
No problem.
Right. Chris, does any of this ring true? Because you started off Girvan Brass quite recently, I suppose, the last 18 months, a year?
A year, just under a year ago. And the reason being, I mean, as I said to Simon earlier before we started, I moved away from Milton Keynes after living there 23 years, and I've been involved in brass banding since I was 6, mm-hmm. and I'm now coming up to 69. So I retired into Scotland 4 years ago,
right.
And I got this lovely little town, but there was no brass band. And the nearest one was Dalmallington, which are a championship band, so good band. But and I thought, they must have had a brass band here years ago. And so I got speaking to a few locals, and they said, yeah, we did have one, but I don't know nobody knew what happened to it. And then I bumped into on social media this guy that George is called, George Bain, and he's a local guy. Never knew him until I saw this, and he mentioned that he was a tuba player. So I got hold of him and I said, "You're a tuba player." I said, "I'm a euphonium player, stroke conductor." I said, "How do you think if we got a little band started up in Girvan for the community, as a community brass band, not for contesting, nothing like that, just for community thing?" And he said, "We could try it, couldn't we?" So that's how it started. So we said, "Right, how are we going to do this then?" You know, and I said, "Well, there's a few bands around, but there's nothing within the local area. We're sort of stuck out on a limb up here."
Right.
And we didn't have a clue of who was in the area, nothing. So he said, "What do we do?" I said, "I'll sort it out." I said, "I'll get it sorted." And just a few things how I got it sorted, if you don't mind, I'll just go into it.
No, that's exactly what we want, yeah.
Okay. So to set it up, I said, right, first of all, we've got to set up a Facebook page for Girvan Brass. We've got to set up a Facebook group for Girvan Brass. So he said, "Why is that?" I said, "Well, if we've got that, we've got a presence on the internet, and everybody's on the internet, believe it or not." So, and then I said, "I'll set up a free website as well." So I spent a bit of time setting all that up.
Yeah.
And then I said, what I'll do then, I said, I'll search Facebook for local community groups of whatever they may be. They could be selling stuff, whatever, and just saying, advertising that Girvan Brass is going to be formed. We're looking for brass players and percussionists, etc., etc. And so, and I said, what we'll do, I'll join as many of these other groups as I can to try and get us known that we're going to do that anyway.
Yeah.
So we did that, and after about 4 weeks, we had 6 or 7 interested players, plus me and George. And so that's a start. I didn't even know we had 6 or 7 players in the area that actually played.
Yeah.
And as Kevin mentioned, some are retired, but some are actually playing in bands. Some of them play in Kilmarnock concert bands. They practice 1 night a week on a Sunday, and they're a first or second section band. But I've got 2 of their players that come and play for me on a Wednesday night because they're not rehearsing. So to them, it's giving them another outlet. Like Kevin said, we're not affecting them. We're helping them because they're getting another night out to play. So within that period of time, we ended up with 14 players. So when we're all there at the moment, we're up to 14, 15. We've lost 1 or 2. One was due to ill health. One was he was travelling it was an hour and a half each way, and it was a long way for it. And the Scottish roads aren't that brilliant, as you know, Sandy. So an hour and a half away, he was a B-flat bass player, as it happened. Anyway, but we lost him because he came here too rehearsals and he said he can't stand the travelling and what have you. Right. So we got that far, and then we said, right, we got all these players interested, so then we had to find a rehearsal room. So then you got to find somewhere that's capable of rehearsing a brass band, no matter how big it gets or how small it is. So I had a look around and I found the local church, and they got 2 halls. They got a main hall and a lesser hall at the back of the church. So the lesser hall is ideal as a normal band room for 25, 30 players. So I thought that'll do. But next to it is what they call the main hall, which you can hold 200 to 300 people in. It's got a stage and everything. So I thought, great, even next door we could do a concert. So we had a chat with the church and they said, yeah, one pitfall that bands need to be made aware of, you need, what do they call it, public liability insurance. So you can get that. I searched around, you get it for about £100 a year, public liability up to £2 million. You'll need that if the band are going to go out and perform in little concerts and stuff. You've got to protect your backside, if you like. So it's one thing to bear in mind. So we got this church, £20 a week. That's one rehearsal, it's £10 an hour. So I said, right, the way we're going to fund this, I said, you all subscribe £3 a week, every rehearsal you come to. If you don't turn up, you don't pay. So you just pay £3 when you turn up. And then if we get over The rest of the money goes into the bank. And then we opened up a bank account. So that's the way that went. That was a challenge and a half, because not many banks will do community bank accounts.
No, they don't want to know these days.
No, but NatWest were actually doing it last year. But it took a while, but we got one. So that was sorted. So that was good. So we charged the subscription stuff, and we've got this whatever you. So then I thought, great, we get started. But we haven't got any music stands. So I said to all the players, have you got instruments? One or two had instruments because they already played with bands. One or two were players that had played. They're in their 30s or thereabouts, played when they were 18, 20, stopped. Haven't got an instrument. Okay. So we searched around. We found some cheap instruments for them. They bought them themselves. We're not funding instruments for anybody. They have to provide their own instrument. And then I bumped into, you may know this name, Ian Dickey.
Yes.
Yeah.
Summer Fellowship Brass. It's a Salvation Army Fellowship band. Ian got hold of me and he said, we want to come down to one of your rehearsals, him and a couple of his pals. One's just passed away recently. But 3 chaps, and they came down. He said, we want to come down and have a blow. And they came all the way from Motherwell. So they drove down. They had fish and chips down in the town, came to our rehearsal one night, and they had a big bag of Salvation Army hymn tune books, the blue ones. I mean, they're on the red ones now, I think. But these are the old blue ones.
Right.
And there was part 1 and part 2. So there's loads of hymn tunes. So he said, we're going to give these to you. I said, really? He said, well, you need music. So that little call out, so they came and played. And then he said, we've also got something else for you. So they had a conductor's stand that they donated to us and 20 music stands.
Wow.
Great.
So they actually donated this and said, this is to help you get going. We want you to, because they started this Summer Fellowship Brass several years ago, and they have about 50 to 75 players turning up to rehearse, and they're all playing with different Salvation Army bands, different bands, but they're nearer to Glasgow, so they do their own thing. So anyway, so that was great. So I said, right, we're going to rehearse a very small program. I've got some cheap music, secondhand music, or whatever, and then out of the blue, somebody up in Glasgow somewhere got hold of us, and there was a band that had gone defunct years ago.
Right.
And he said, we've got some music. Would you be interested in it? It was 3 massive boxes of all the old brass band stuff. So I said, yeah, sure. He said, you have to come and get it. So George, my partner in crime, he drove up to Glasgow and picked all this stuff up. And so we've got quite a big selection of music now as well. It's all old, but, way ahead.
It's all good stuff then.
Yeah. Proper brass band stuff, not all this drum stuff and xylophones and God knows what. So we decided then to put this little program together, and then we said, right, we're going to do a concert, our first ever concert. So this is after, I don't know, 3-4 months, something like that. So I said, we'll do it in the hall next door, because we only pay the same fee as though we were paying for the room we're in. So we had to pay the church £20. So I said, if nobody turns up, we've got nothing to lose. I said, all I want to do is put a bucket by the door, and if people want to donate, they can. If they enjoyed it, if they don't, they don't. So it's a free concert. You know what? We had over 250 people.
Jeez,
it was rammed.
Wow.
I've got a couple of little videos from it. That's on social media, but it was brilliant. I mean, were we Black Dyke? No, we weren't. But did we entertain the public? Yes. We had them on their feet. They were clapping as they were playing. And that's what a little community band's about, is pulling people in and letting them be entertained. And the look on their faces, it was amazing. And they all kept coming out of the end and shaking my hand and stuff. You know what? We ended up with nearly £400.
Gee whiz.
In donations.
That's
absolutely incredible. Yeah. So that gave us a good start. So anybody needs pointers, don't charge for a concert, publicise it well, give it free, have one little bucket. It was only about yay high, about 8-9 inches, not a big one, with a little Gervin brass logo sat on it, and it's just on a little table as they come in or go out. And when we picked up the bucket, I thought, I can't believe this. And it was just full. And so it showed they appreciated it, you know.
Yeah.
So that's one way of doing it, so you can get some money as well. I just made a few notes. So then I also said, after that concert was a success, I said, right, we need to get some polo shirts rather than having brass band uniforms in the same old tradition.
Yeah.
I said, let's have polo shirts with our logo on and everything else. So we did this, and I got them all organised, and I said, we need to keep some money in the bank. So let's see if I can get some community grants. So a local distillery donated us over £200 as a one-off thing, and then we got another from another local community grant for £200 towards our rehearsal facilities. So in a short space of time, we got a nice little healthy bank account should we get a problem, and we had real support from Ian Dickey and the crew up in Summer Brass, and then we're all set. The only downside, our second concert was going to be doing at the beginning of December at Christmas. We had it all planned, all rehearsed, and we had a storm. The storm, you know, these storms that you get.
Yeah.
We had this storm coming, and of course, we've got players that have to travel in the sticks from Prestwick through Ayr down into Girvan, all the back streets, and it was just horrendous. And they were all advising no travel, so we cancelled it. We had to cancel it and say sorry, the concert's cancelled because I don't want to risk any players or any public getting damaged just to come and listen to a brass band concert. It just wouldn't be right.
No, so we get it around here as well, where you know, because it's rural, you know, you get trees blowing down on top of cars and stuff. That's one of the problems.
Yeah, it is. So that's where we're at, really. We've done quite well.
What you've done, Chris, you've had a lot of goodwill from local businesses by the sound of it.
Yes,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Kevin, can I ask one thing you mentioned before? I mean, all of our band and yours as well, you know, was this 2 rehearsals a week stuff, wasn't it? You know, all the bands we've sort of played in was, you know, Monday, Thursday normally, something like that. And you're right that a lot of bands now are just rehearsing once a week because they can only get a full band one night a week. And are you finding that it's, if they're lucky, Are you finding that you've got a lot of players who are hankering still to do 2 rehearsals at least, just to keep themselves going?
I think it's a mix. I think, yes, there is, and I think you're right in that. Bands have gone to 1 rehearsal a week. Some of that is financial because of the cost of facilities, which we have to accept is going up. Some of that, I think, is the cost to individual players as well of funding. I think, gone are the days when you had a lot of people playing, championship section bands is a classic example. People lived in the village or lived close to the village. Or lived within the locality. Now you've got people travelling 50, 60 miles to rehearsal, 100 miles to rehearsal and back again. Chris mentioned about somebody travelling an hour and a half. You've got all of that now. And doing that twice a week, you know, Sandy, with my background, and Simon as well, we've travelled Christ knows how many miles over the years to rehearsal. I dread to think, you know, I was working in Birmingham and rehearsing with Verstar Brass in Brighouse. You know, and travelling up to Grimethorpe twice a week from Birmingham or Derby or Oxford, even when I was working down there. But you do it because you do it. Now, I think that now is becoming cost prohibitive. And the income that you can get from playing with top class bands isn't there anymore. It's not. It doesn't exist. So bands have gone down to 1 day a week. And to come back to the question, a lot of players, and we know this, don't practice between those rehearsals.
I used to.
Come on.
We've been talking about this.
When you say that.
I'll tell you why I'm thinking is we even had that situation in the likes of, the Dyke and stuff.
Yep.
We always used to have well, we were out, twice a week plus concerts. 5-6 concerts a month, 8 rehearsals. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
But we always used to say that there was 1 or 2 people in the band who had, let's just say, they've been there maybe a while, and but their playing just suddenly improved towards a contest because the thing was on their face more.
Don't
mention any names, though.
No, I won't. But they were still great players, but you just thought, this person is just relying on knowledge and experience. Yeah. But then when they get more rehearsal, they suddenly their lips in better fettle, and they can do things better. And it's just because it's been forced to have on their face more nights.
And they're still blowing at the end of the rehearsal, the same as they were at the beginning all of a sudden, instead of dying for the last 20 minutes.
Yeah, exactly.
But you take that back a step. If bands are only rehearsing once a week, they're not getting that input. I think we have to accept that some bands, and we can probably name them between us because we've all played with them, Black Dyke, Grimethorpe, Brighouse, are still very, very busy bands.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They are doing concerts every weekend or 3 or 4 weekends out of the 4 in a month.
Yeah.
And they're rehearsing twice a week. And if you're going to play with those bands, and we all have, then you've got to be on your top metal because there's somebody else sat there waiting to take your seat.
That's right.
Yeah.
And ringing up. So you've got to do that. But let's take that back a slight step. And even the lower let's call it the lower championship section bands, they're not out 3 and 4 times a month doing concerts.
No.
Because that volume of concert is no longer available.
No.
So they're rehearsing for contests, they're rehearsing for concerts, they're doing whatever they want to do. Therefore, the players are not getting that exposure to regular rehearsals that we would have had.
Yeah.
And the daytime bands, which is what we're talking about, is an alternative to that. I mean, when I first started with the Derby and Burton thing, for instance, I had no idea on the first day how many people would come through the door.
Mm-hmm.
I had not got a clue. I knew some of the people who'd said they would come,
right,
but I had no idea whether they were going to turn up or not.
No.
And I think it was 24 on the first rehearsal, including some guys from Derwent, which is championship section.
Good.
Third in the Midlands area. Current Leicester Brass Band Association champion, some really good guys, some really good players who turned up because they only rehearse once a week.
Yeah.
They rehearse on a Thursday night. So those players came.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to sort of get at, that these players are still hankering for that we took for granted.
Yeah.
And that was it. We were just expected to be there, and that was
Absolutely.
it.
Have you ever thought? I mean, I know these guys are hankering to chew at the bit, so they're joining your little bands. I get that, but why hasn't their band understood that their players want to be doing more? Why? What are they missing? How are the bands? The bands they're coming from, that's doing one night a week. Why aren't they seeing that these players are hankering to do more? Is it because the majority of their band don't want to do it?
It's a good question, Chris, and I don't have a definitive answer to that. I don't know whether Simon or
well, I think a lot of it's got to do with cost. I mean, there's cost of an MD, there's cost of a rehearsal room, and they might be paying a few travelling expenses here and there. But it mounts up.
Yeah, but if you think about any band, right? If we're just talking sort of your average, slightly lower section bands, there will be a difference in the players within that band. Some will be dead keen and want to get on. Some will just be doing it for a bit of a hobby and all that. So are these daytime bands maybe? They're feeding into the people who want to do more. I mean, these bands are only doing one day a week, one rehearsal a week, because that's you can only get as many of the band there on one night a week, but there'll be some of that band still want to do more.
You
know, and so that's where you're picking up. I would imagine in both your instances, Chris and Kevin, that the players that come to you are quite keen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
You know, they want, they just, and what's the rationale for it? Is it just to have fun? Are they trying to get better, or is it a social thing? Is it a mixture?
I've got a guy that travels from Prestwick to Girvan, and that's a good 3/4 an hour each way, I suppose. He's 80.
Oh,
80 years old. Last year he celebrated 80th birthday. He plays baritone, plays for who's he? Dunaskin
Dun. Yeah.
Yes, plays for them. He's played for them for 70 years. Never played anywhere else.
Oh, wow.
Goodness.
And he comes to me and plays. Right. He drives all the way down.
I mean, that's amazing.
That's brilliant.
My philosophy as a conductor with these bands, it's almost following on from what Chris has just said, actually. I don't spend more than 10, 15 minutes on any one piece.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Because people are coming to the band not to sit there and listen to me rehearse the back row cornets because they can't do the rhythms. Exactly. They haven't come to listen to me rehearsing first horn, second horn, second baritone, second D flat bass because they can't play a rhythm. Yeah. They're coming because they want to play.
They've come for a blow. Yeah.
They've come for a blow. Now, I'll be careful how I say this. On occasions, you have to sort of step back from and say, right, this is the best I'm going to get from this group of players on this particular piece.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now, that in itself is a challenge because if you've got guys coming into a championship section and they're playing Elgar variations in a few weeks, and you've got guys coming from 4-section bands who are going to be playing Indian Summer. In a few weeks' time.
Good old Indian Summer.
Where on earth do you pitch the repertoire with it? I mean, Simon, Sandy, you know that I do a lot of arranging. So, and as do you, Sandy. And when you're faced with that sort of challenge of where do I pitch this arrangement so that I'm not going to have half a dozen players who can play it and 20 who can't, but they'll get through it in the end. You've got to pick the right kind of repertoire. And one of the things
I came down to one of your rehearsals, Kevin.
You did indeed with Leslie, it was great.
Yeah, and when I got back in the car, I says to Leslie, my wife, I says, I take my hat up to Kevin. I says, I wouldn't have been able to resist digging. and at first I thought, well, are you not going to fix that? But then suddenly the penny dropped with me. Why they were all there. It's a real skill, isn't it?
It's a different philosophy, isn't it? It's a totally different philosophy. We're all used to, I mean, Chris, I know we had a chat yesterday and, you know, your background is in sort of contesting banding and all that. So we've all been there, done that. And this is a totally different philosophy, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
You know,
it is.
Very much so.
We've all been there and worn the T-shirt. We've all done it. We know what should be done and what can be done. But as Kevin says, when you're in the middle of it and you're the one that's got to get these people together, you've got to work out what standard have you got, and you want to say, what can we cope with without too much hard work, and they need to have the enjoyment. So they all come and they want to come back. And that's what it's all about. You don't want a player turning up and going and saying, I was bored to death tonight. He spent all night trying to sort the tenor horns out, you know.
The thing I felt from that rehearsal, Kevin, was they were all there because they wanted to be there.
Absolutely.
And they were all having a good little crack amongst themselves, and you know, and it was really interesting. Completely alien to me.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
Very interesting.
This is why we wanted to do this chat. I mean, Kevin, Chris was telling us a story about the concert he did with Girvan and 200 people there and that. Have you had similar sort of experiences with your daytime bands?
I think the important, I mean, from all, Number is brand new.
Right.
Literally, the first rehearsal was 2 days ago on Thursday. And I was absolutely gobsmacked. There's 29 players there.
Wow.
Excellent.
Which, for a first rehearsal...
Yeah, it's brilliant.
And what was even more surprising was I managed to cover every single part except SOP.
God, so, I was going to ask that. Were you any short of anything in particular, or
the only part that we couldn't cover was SOP, and that's sorted for next week because one of the guys has got a SOP. He normally plays SOP, but he brought cornet because he thought we'd be short of cornets.
Right.
So he's going to bring. Well, it's not next week actually. We're going to do the number one at the moment once every 2 weeks. So because we weren't sure what it was going to be.
Yeah.
But on the 5th of February. I don't know to anybody who can't come on that, and I know to half a dozen players who want to come as well. My only concern on the 5th of February is can I get them all into the band room? Because if I have 35, I mean, we're rehearsing at Sherland, Simon, which you've probably been in. It doesn't accommodate that many players. It's not massive. So that's my only concern, and we might have to use downstairs. So I need to be a bit careful on that. But concert, absolutely vital. With the Derby and Burton one, the first thing we decided on in the first week we were there is you're not rehearsing for rehearsing's sake. You're not just coming and having the blow. We want to do something. We want to do a concert, whatever it is. So my local pub has a beer garden. We did a concert there during the summer. We were very fortunate because it was a fantastic summer, wasn't it? I mean, it was absolutely splitting the cobbles.
Yeah.
Very good friend of mine had a stroke, sadly, last Christmas, so we decided to do it for the Stroke Association. We raised 750 quid on the day.
Excellent.
Which fantastic. People enjoyed it. We had about 40 players there on the day, mixture of bands and Lord knows what else, all playing music. Public enjoyed it. We did a concert at Christmas with the Derby and Burton, raised 250 quid for breast cancer. The band, because the numbers are reasonable, it's more or less self-funding.
Yep.
It's not completely self-funding, and we need to look at one of the things we are looking into is whether we can get some grants from here, there, and everywhere to try and fund it.
Yep.
With Nemba, the number one is brand new, so at the moment it's suck it and see on what we do. But that will definitely have a concert within the next 2 months. Probably in Shirley Miners Welfare, because there's a concert hall downstairs from where the band room is, or even the local church, which can accommodate up to about 200-300 people. Following on from what Chris said, they are free concerts. We ask for a bucket, we stick a bucket, people throw stuff in the end.
Yeah.
It worked.
It does.
With Derby and Burton. It'll work with the number one. With Ratby's slightly different. Ratby's been running nearly 3 years now. I'm the newbie. I only started conducting them in October. I was asked if I'd go along and do a couple of rehearsals for them before a concert, which I did. And then they asked me to do a few more and a few more and a few more and so on. But the way Ratby's looking at doing is to have 3 conductors during the year, which I agree with. I think is a cracking idea because it's giving fresh ideas, it's giving fresh impetus, and it's quite likely, in fact more than likely, in April, when somebody else takes over, they'll have a different emphasis.
Yep.
They're not getting fed up of me, which is great, and I'll go and play.
Yeah.
Okay.
Because why not? It's a Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday lunchtime. I happen to have some spare time on a Wednesday because I've swapped things around. I'll go along and play because of the concept of it. So I think there's different ways of doing it, but I think the concert ideal and exactly what Chris said, having something to aim for keeps people's minds occupied. So rather than just coming along and playing and you do some great stuff, do some yellow music.
Yep, that's right.
Fantastic.
Well, that was going to be my next question. What sort of repertoire do you both use?
Well, I'll tell you.
Is it mainly yellow?
No, not mainly yellow. You know that, Simon, because if you've been... I'll give you 2 pieces that when I put them out... Well, 4 pieces. I'll give you 4 pieces of music. When I put them out, people say, oh, Oh, we've not played this for 30, 40 years.
Yeah.
Right. Bandology.
Yeah.
Eric
It was on everybody's programme. Go back to the 70s and 80s, it was on everybody's programme. It didn't matter whether you played with Dyke, Sandy, whether you played with Brighouse, it was on every programme. And I was at Grimy, I was at Frickley at the time. We played it.
I played
Thundercrest.
Yeah.
When you got fed up of Bandology, you played Thundercrest.
Yeah.
Guess what we start with?
Go on.
Sladeburn.
Yeah, why not? Why not?
But I mean, it's a simple, straightforward marks that you can get, even with a very small band, can sound really good. Easily. And they loved it. As soon as I said, I got it out one night for this concert we were doing, I said, right, we're going to open up with this one, Sladeburn. And they went, Sladeburn, God, I haven't played that for years. But they loved it. But they loved it. I mean, it's,
Well, I'll give you the other two pieces that's in the pad, and I think we might have done it when you were there, Simon. I can't remember. Instant Concert.
Yeah, we did.
Instant Concert.
Not the Hootenanny. Not
Hootenanny.
Why? I knew that was coming.
Why? Because everybody knows it. And I'll guarantee it, when you're talking to an audience, right, and I mean, I don't know whether you ever played with under Elgar Howarth at all, Chris, but Sandy and Simon certainly did with me.
I know they did, yeah.
Right. Elgar Howarth always said, educate or entertain.
Yep.
Educate or entertain.
Mm-hmm. Right. To do.
Daytime bands are all about entertaining, not educating. We're not in a position, because I don't know how many players are going to be there on Monday night, Monday afternoon, or Wednesday. I'm not in a position where I'm going to stick something out there that says, right, okay, I need to talk to the audience for 5 minutes just to explain what this piece is about and how it goes and what we're trying to achieve with it. They want to be entertained. You do Instant Concert, I'll guarantee you by the time you get halfway through, people are clapping.
Yeah.
As well, Kevin, all them pieces you've mentioned, and Chris, they were written in a time when they were doubled on a lot of parts. So if you've got players missing,
very much so.
It's getting covered.
Very much so.
We've got a thing that I can't remember where I got them from now, but it's you just download them, print them off the internet and stuff, and I think it was, I don't know, it's 15 quid or something, and we just downloaded them, and there was 24 brass band arrangements of lots of stuff. I can't remember, it was from PDF Brass or somewhere like that. I can't remember, and I wish I could remember who it is, but. I mean, they've got some lovely stuff in there. They got some of the Beatles stuff and some of the traditional brass band stuff. And it's a right old mixture. And there's about 25, 30 pieces I got for 15 quid. So we just print them off and we say, I mean, it's got the floral dance. It's a different arrangement, but I mean, that's another one, floral dance. I mean, I lived in Cornwall, so imagine how many times I played the floral dance. Every concert was the floral dance. Every concert. But I mean, that is another one, apart from not having a soprano player, that you can get away with. You know what I mean? But
not as many times as Grozzy played it with Brighouse, I'll guarantee you.
Used to drive me mad.
We've covered a lot of the points I wrote down here to ask you to. But if you've got any advice, what I'm hoping is that people might listen to this and think, I've thought about this for a while and I've not really been sure how to go about it. Is there any other advice you two have got for people who might want to start up this sort of thing in their own area? How to go about it?
I think, well, if I can start, Chris, you can correct me. I think it's very important, and I think I said it at the very outset, you are not trying to replace what they already have. What you are trying to do is to add something to that. So you're not trying to set something, and I think it's very, very tempting is probably not the right word, but it's very easy to fall into the trap of saying, having set this up, we've got 20 odd people interested. Actually, that means we can form our own band.
Yeah.
And blow everybody else. We'll form our own band, and this is great, isn't it? Because it's better than what you've got already. I think it's so important now.
Get the balance.
To get a balance of saying this is in addition to what you already have. We're not going to contest, no matter what you say. I am not going to stand here as the conductor or sit in the band even as a player. I am not going to rehearse a test piece.
Right.
I always give people the option. Now, I don't know whether you do, Chris, but I always say to people, if you want to play something, if you have a request, then tell me, and I'll get it out.
Exactly.
If it's your favourite tune, I mean, this has happened recently. Well, it happened about a year ago. Somebody said, I'd always wanted to play the George Gershwin, Walking the Dog.
Oh, yeah.
The Promenade.
Promenade.
And I looked, and there was an arrangement on the net. I can't remember. It might have been Howard's, if I remember right. I can't remember.
I think it's Derek Bourgeois.
Is it Derek Bourgeois?
I think so. Yeah.
But I couldn't actually get it in time, so I did my own because it's out of copyright.
Yeah.
And did that because somebody asked for it, and it's simple enough. I mean, it's the same thing repeated 2 or 3 times. So that I did that. But if somebody requests to play something specifically, then fine. But I've always said, but if you want to play Bally for Band, forget it.
Right.
Yeah, we'd never go down that route neither.
If you want to play Resurgam, it ain't going to happen.
No.
Because for 2 reasons. Firstly, it's an insult to the music because daytime bands are not capable of doing that to any kind of standard. All they do is they'll get from A to B, from B to C, from C to B. They're not going to play the thing. And if so, there is a caveat to what I've just said. But I think the repertoire is vital. And if to anybody thinking of setting a band up. Look round you if there are any existing daytime bands.
Okay.
And for goodness sake, pick a day that they're not on. So that you're not trying to compete.
Okay.
Look at the area that you're in. If you look at the 3 bands that I'm involved with Nemba, that's Sherland, which is Junction 28, Burton and District, Derby Burton District. We now rehearse at Kegworth, which is Junction 24 of the M1.
You've got quite a good selection of bands in that area, though.
Yep, and look at Ratby. Ratby's Junction 22 of the M1. They're all on the M1 corridor. In other words, they're all accessible.
Yes.
Okay.
But they're far enough apart that you're appealing to that broad thrust. If I was to say, right, okay, well, I've got a lot of bands around Kirkby and Ashfield. So what I'll do Nemba on a Thursday and I'll do Kirkby and Ashfield on a Friday. It ain't going to happen.
No.
Because you're looking at the same pool of players.
Okay. We're in a different situation up here.
Yeah, you are in very much.
Because we've got, I mean, Girvan, I don't know if you know the top of, Kevin will probably know, Sandy will probably know, where Girvan is. Yeah, where Girvan is. I mean, it's miles down to Stranraer, which is where the ferry ports are. That's the nearest band that way, which is Stranraer Brass. And then you go up, and there's nothing in there. The nearest band is Dunaskin, Dalmallington, Irvine and Dreghorn. And they're quite a distance from Girvan.
Yeah, they are.
So for us, it's more difficult because we haven't got a nucleus of bands within the area that would want to come down that hour-ish to rehearse in a new band. But we have got players that's actually doing it, that actually are doing it. They're not all from Girvan, these people that we've got. They're coming from out the sticks, Prestwick, Maybole, which is just up the road, and then others were coming from little villages on the Stranraer Road, but they've just moved into Girvan anyway. So it's to us, it's keep searching, because we have to keep pushing the word out that Girvan Brass is there, and what we're about is, yes, we're not a daytime band, we're an evening band, we're a community band. I've checked where all the bands that are local to us, none of them rehearse on a Wednesday. So that gives us a little bit of an opening, and it's working.
Okay, this has been a fascinating discussion on daytime banding and community banding. I'd like to thank you, Chris Johnston, for joining us, and Kevin Holdgate. It's been nice to get an insight into this, because I certainly didn't have too much of an insight.
No,
so
I didn't.
We hope the listeners think likewise too.
Simon, can I just ask, Chris, what's the best way if people want to get involved with Girvan Brass? You're on Facebook, aren't you?
We're on Facebook, Girvan Brass. We've got a Facebook page and we've got a group, and they're welcome to join the group, even if they don't play or anything, because that's where we get a lot of support comes through. We've got a website, girvanbrass.co.uk. So they can find us there, and they can, if they want, they can email me, brassbandradio@gmail.com.
Kevin, what's the best way for people to get in touch for the bands that you're involved in?
Right, well, all three bands have got a Facebook presence.
Okay.
Number through the NEMBA, North East Midlands Brass Band Association website, or through Facebook. Derby Burton and District is on Facebook as well, and there's links from the New All Brass Band website, but you can certainly find it through that. Ratby Daytime Band, again, is part of the Ratby organisation, so it's available through that. I mean, all of these bands are what they are. They're available to anybody. Okay. And I think that is the key element. And I would say to anybody, you asked me the question about the people who are wanting to set these things up. Yes, please. The brass band movement, and we all have to accept this, is contracting.
Yes, absolutely.
If you look at the area contests, and the Midlands is a classic example of this. 3 years ago, 2023. My band, the evening band, Newell Band, went to the area, and we competed against 21 other bands. There was 22 bands in the section. We went to the national, we won the national, that's end of story. But this year at the Midlands area, there are 14 competing bands.
Really?
Yeah.
In the space of 3 years, it has gone down from 22 to 14. Midlands is a huge geographical area.
It is,
yes.
And if we can only put 14 bands into the 4 section, some bands will have chosen not to go, some bands will not be able to go, and I'm not saying that it's because bands are not going because they haven't, but the reality is there was 22, there's now 14. If you look at the number of bands, I remember competing in the 70s in Yorkshire when I first started playing in bands, and we drew 36 at the Yorkshire area in the 4 section with a junior band. 36. There aren't 36 bands competing in the Yorkshire area if you add all 4 sections together, or just about. And daytime bands is a way of, it's a way.
Yeah.
And I would stress that. I don't think it's the final answer, but it's a way of attracting players to come and play in a different environment, and some of those players will want to go back to doing some contests. Some of those players who've retired might think, actually, I retired a bit early on this. COVID was a big wake-up call to a lot of people. We have to accept that. They said, actually, I'll take the opportunity here. All of a sudden, and I mean, I don't know whether Chris knows Gordon Edison, but certainly Simon Sandy and Gordon. He had this wonderful phrase on Facebook which stuck with me, and it was very early in the COVID days, and he said, I'm not going to band. I've discovered this wonderful woman, and I'm really enjoying spending some time with her. Apparently, we've been married for 36 years.
Daytime banding isn't the whole answer, but it is a answer.
Massive thanks to Chris Johnston and Kevin Holdgate from me and Sandy. Maybe we'll get you back on some other time and some other subjects. You never know, but that's been fascinating for me.
Well, that was really interesting, wasn't it? Listening to Chris and Kevin there telling us
Certainly
about
was.
Community banding. It was something that we both wanted to find out more. Yeah. And we've got two guys there, Kevin, who's done it for a few years, Chris, who's just started up last year, and getting an idea how they went about it. I would just hope, if people want to start it, then, I think there's some good ideas amongst that as to how to go about it. And it's a totally different sort of banding.
Yeah.
But I think there's absolutely a place for it. So it was huge interesting stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
So finally, we're going to try a little thing that we've come up with to tag on to the end of the podcast called The Good, the Bad and the Dodgy. So we're just going to have a little look at 2 or 3 little stories maybe. We'll not do it all the time, but we're going to do it just to mention a couple of things, feel-good stories, things that are a bit, that haven't gone out so well, and things that we think are a bit dodgy, basically. So to start off with, the first one, the good. So I came across this morning on my Facebook feed. I was scrolling through, and it came up, I think it was on Board Bandsman, and there was a young lad called Oliver Pickin, who I knew nothing about. I think he has been a student at Southampton Uni, music student. I think he's either in the process of graduating or he has graduated. He has done a brass band arrangement of the theme for the TV series The Traitors, that BBC One thing.
It's a great programme, Sandy, that.
See, I've never watched it. I've heard about it.
It's brilliant.
I mean, people talk about it at work all the time. And
you learn so much about the way us humans interact and deceive and you name it, everything's in it.
So anyway, there was one of those little YouTube videos attached to it where the score sort of scrolls along and turns pages, and you can follow it. So I had a listen. And yeah, it's a good little solid arrangement of this theme tune. And it got me thinking that these are the sort of things that I remember as a kid. We used to play these little march card things at the time. Yeah. I mean, this is going back a bit, obviously. Eye Level, the Van der Valk theme and all that. Themes off the telly.
I remember Viva España.
Yeah, stuff that was in the charts. And thinking about it, I have no problem at all. That sort of stuff in the right place is spot on. If
it's great for audiences.
I hope that bands have a look at it and maybe get a hold of it. It is available via Sheet Music Direct. I'm sure people will find it online. But if it gets a few more quid in the bucket at some summer park gig, just because people think, oh, that's the theme from Traitors, and it sort of gets the juices going a bit, I'm all for it. So that was me feel-good thing, was this little arrangement by Oliver Pickin. So that was the good. Go on then, the bad.
The bad, well, this morning, Sandy, as we're recording this, has been an announcement, a really sad announcement on 4 Bars Rest that there's going to be no European Championships in 2028 in England.
Yeah.
I really am sad about that.
Yeah, it is. I mean, it's not a bad, well, it's a bad story in that sort of way, but it's sad more than that. It's unfortunate, and I get some of the reasons. I don't think we're party to everything that's been going on, but I mean, the arts money in this country has been blitzed and decimated by successive governments. Don't blame Labour, don't blame the Tories. They're all bloody been at it. It's just getting harder and harder. And I would have thought, I mean, let's face it, the Europeans is the flagship blue ribbon event in banding.
Yeah.
And the last one they had, I think about 2022, was a big success.
Yeah.
It's just a shame. It's just sad.
Yeah.
I hope it gets found out. We know, I mean, we speak to people all the time, and we know the costs involved for bands individually who are attending and everything else, and the costs for putting it on are astronomical. But it's just unfortunate that, yes, I know where they're putting all the money into supposed youth development and things like that. I get that sort of idea, but I think also, they still seem to be able to find, and I know this is not easy, they still find money for opera houses and things like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, they are important as well. Get that. But I don't think bands are asking for a terrible amount.
No.
And I think, it's just a shame that we're not able to put that flagship event on in 2028. Hopefully things will change, turn round.
Especially in England where it was conceived.
Yeah. But it's just unfortunate. But there we go. That's the bad one. Now, the dodgy.
The dodgy one. Well, somebody pointed this out to me a while ago, and it was a recording of Black Dyke Band playing. It's obviously Black Dyke because Nick's conducting, and they're playing at the Albert Hall, and it's the last part, I think, of Symphony in Two Movements by Edward Gregson. And one of the bass players had obviously recorded the last thing, and I just couldn't believe what I was seeing.
I've got to admit.
It's self-indulgent, distracting, and completely amateurish.
You pointed it out to me, and I went for a look, and I was sort of like, I didn't really know what to think. It is. It sounds poor. Okay.
It does.
This little microphone cum video camera thing, supposedly in some specs, some glasses, it sounds rubbish because it's picking up an E flat bass or a B flat bass, whatever, and parping away, and you can't. There's no clarity. It's nothing really very good about it. I must admit, it sounded to me a bit narcissistic. And there's certainly, I just don't know why you would think that was a good idea, especially during what is, no matter how you wrap it up, is one of the most important performances that your band does in the year. And if you've been distracted by either switching your glasses on or whatever, there's that side of it.
Well, to me, Sandy, it damages public perception of brass bands because the standard of that recording is low. It obviously tells the public that standards are low. At the end of the day, contests, they're not a content factory. They're a place where they should earn respect.
Yeah, I get that. And I know some people have problems with contests because of its sort of inward-looking thing, and and we seem a bit sort of up our own backsides with contesting and stuff. I get that as well, but I think if you're trying to sort of say that, look at what brass bands can do, then I don't think it's a very good advert. I do think it's very self-indulgent, and I don't think there's much class about it either in the recording or just the idea of it. So I think, to me, that falls into the dodgy category.
Very dodgy.
But there we go.
That's that for that this week. I mean, we're going to come up with it. We might, like you say, it might not be every podcast that we do, but now and again we'll find three that fit the scheme of things, and we'll just put them in.
Yeah, no problem. Well, that was a good podcast with the two guys. So
absolutely,
we'll just invite people to write in about other things, whatever they fancy. And we've got some really good comments coming in about some of the stuff we talked about in December that we're going to tackle in the upcoming months.
You've had some interesting emails.
Yeah, we have some very interesting ones. And we will be protecting the identities of the people that are sending them in. But there's some very interesting things which are sort of, at the moment, they're confirming what we were saying about certain things need talking about properly. But then that's for another time. And if you get anything else, just let us know on the email address. You've got it, Simon.
Yeah,
the email address?
It's Smith and Grezzy, AND, and smithandgrezzy@gmail.com.
Brilliant. And we'll see you next time.
Thank you, everybody.